Let's see how taping you to my shelf works. I'm trying to get you an overhead view. Good deal. I got a nice view there, don't I? You guys are welcome. Alright, let's continue. So, it's, I don't know, it's midnight now. I gotta get work done. I got so much work. I got people calling me, and everybody wants me to work on their crap. So, I gotta get this thing going here. I shouldn't be working this late. I'm probably gonna regret it later. Is what it is. Anyway, so I put the head gasket on here already. I just made sure the surface was clean again. Slid it into place. Where are you? Way the hell up there. Alright. Slid it into place. I'm not even going to look at the camera. That's too tough. Too high up there. Got the dowels in. Just sitting down at the bottom here. See the one stud is out. I'm just going to put that in after the head is on, since it came out when I pulled it out. Yeah, I'm going to grab the head. I'm going to slide the head in place. We're going to get it all torqued down. Then I got to take and I have some push rods in the back. I'm going to see if those are the right length. I'm hoping they are because they just came off of an LS7. And these heads are very similar to an LS7. The push rods are considerably longer on an LS7 versus an LS3. So I'm thinking that those ones which are a little bit too long for the car they were on because the heads had to be trimmed so much, and some other things that came to play with that I'm hoping that they'll work on this one. So we'll get the head on here, we'll speed through this process, and I'll have another video for you. I'm gonna leave you a note here as well. These heads are intended for potential future upgrades if he ever has a problem with the bottom end again. Oh, excuse me, nose is itching. These are 6-bolt heads, so they have actual threads in underneath here, or where you can bolt the head to the block another time on top of the bolt that's here. And then obviously you have your standard 4 bolts, and then there's also a bolt that overhangs the block. I should grab that other head quick. Be a lot easier to show you. But here. So when you buy a stud kit for these, they come with studs that thread into here, and that's the one that is underneath the intake port. The intake port is right here. That thread has a stud sticking out, and then you put a nut upside down from this valley pan bolt. That's for the LSX blocks. So that guy and then this guy is also an added hole, and the block has the tabs to make up for that hole. Previous to the last build I did, so 2 builds ago, it was a white Corvette. That one had this. I did an LSX block for him, and we did the same, basically the same heads. He's driving it now. It's NA for now, but only for now. He won't put the supercharger on until he upgrades the transmission and stuff. That's a whole other car. It's actually buddies with this guy, kind of. But alright, let's get some head nuts and thread some nuts on there. Alright, keep torquing the head down. I gotta go get my fancy torque wrench. This one is not gonna cut it. I like to be very, very precise. I have my digital angle torque wrench here. That's snap-on, so yeah, it costs way too much money. But anyway, you type your measurement in here, or scroll to your measurement. I'm going to start this at 80. Well, I'm going to start it lower than that, but finish it at 80 tonight. I'm pretty sure these are 80 or 85 or 90. I know they're at least 80. I'm going to go 40 first, then step up to 80, and I run 2 passes on the 80 at least. And then tomorrow morning I'll actually look up the proper spec, which is most likely 85 or 90, maybe even like a goofy 89 or something. But I'll look up the proper spec and then finish torquing it. Let it sit overnight. It'll actually loosen up a little bit. It'll kind of settle, I guess. Weird how things do that, but they do. So I'll start getting the torque going. Speed up. And yes, by the way, start in the middle and work a crisscross pattern on every single pass to minimize head warpage. Okay, they're all at 40, but to prove something, I'm not going to change it. See how much I had to turn that? Not quite an eighth of a turn, but it was at like 36 foot-pounds or something. So now we're going to step it up. I'm actually going to do 60 first. Little steps. I got time. Little time tonight. Okay. I have a mess here that I'm going to have to clean up today. I definitely got to get some cleaning done. That's one of my goals. But last night I stayed up quite late. I was out here working 1 o'clock in the morning or something. Took some video. I got some good video of where you were actually up on my shelf. And unfortunately, you'll obviously see the video. Unfortunately, the battery died. Well, my cell phone, the battery died. I knew it was low, but I thought it would handle putting the cylinder head on. But since it sat several hours, I'm going to go ahead and retorque it again. Same kind of sequence. And we'll continue the video there. I suppose that's where we'll start it. Well, we'll start it there after you see what I did last night. But I think I'm going to try and get you in a better position here to view it. Maybe not the overhead view. That was tough to do last night. I had to literally tape you to a shelf. And we'll continue after I get a good view here. I got you a pretty darn good view of this cylinder head. So next step, I gotta, like I said, torque those head studs one more time. And I actually am gonna not only do it one more time, I'm gonna do it 2 more times, because I'm gonna do it now, and then I'm going to put these smaller nuts on here for the shorter, the little guy studs, and torque those down, and then I'm going to retorque these one more time. With ARP studs, it's really good to just constantly check the torque on cylinder heads. They can sink, loosen, I don't know, for some reason they just require a little more torque time to sit there and make sure that they're perfect. I do recommend, after it's ran a couple of times, a lot of times, to retorque it. Just a couple of heat cycles, if a guy's got the time to do so. It's not necessary. I like to do it. I have found that they come loose after a couple of heat cycles. Well,
I suppose I should correct that just in case ARPs watch it. It's not that they come loose; it's that they settle down. Something changes. I don't think they're actually rotating. I think it's just the gasket squishes a little bit more, or the head finally, the metal fatigues right one way or another. I don't know. Something happens that makes them seem like they come loose a little bit. But anyway, the torque wrench I'm using is this overpriced Snap-on digital torque wrench. Snap-on definitely takes pride in their tools. I do like certain tools of theirs. This is one of those that is way overpriced, at least in my opinion, because of what I see out there, other than the Snap-on ones that are on the market. When torquing, we start in the center bolt. So, you know, you got the bolts on the bottom of the head. You got the line of bolts that are the big ones in the middle of the head, and then you have those guys. I always start in the middle one. I'm pretty sure that's even proper according to specification of the vehicle. I'm actually confident it is. So start in the middle just makes the most sense, and then you cross torque and move your way out to the ends, and you'll kind of see the process there. We'll get going. First torque is just 80. I want to see if it moved at all. That's where I left it last night. It did move a little bit. That one turned just a little, not much. That one turned quite a bit. So see, letting it sit overnight or throughout the morning, I keep forgetting I was up that late, actually made a difference. And that's why I like to retorque these things. That one turned a decent amount. That one did not turn at all. Not at all. That one turned a little bit. So it's always good to recheck those. Now I'm going to go actually look up the official spec. I'm pretty sure it's 85 or 90. But yeah, I'm going to go grab that spec, and I'll be right back to finish torquing these heads. Alright, I'm back. The torque specs are actually 90 foot-pounds. So I'm going to get those little guys on there, and then go ahead and torque them down the first pass. Then I'll torque the 90, and then I'll hit these little guys one more time just to be sure it didn't move. Okay, I need my ARP lube. Always have to have ARP lube on these ARP studs or they don't torque properly. Oops. Alright, I'm going to go grab a rocker, a couple rockers, and the push rods that I know might potentially work. And I'm going to snug them down and make sure I got enough room for everything to work out. And put the push rods that I have from another vehicle in there carefully, and I'm going to turn it over carefully with just one of them and see how everything lands and lines up. Now, if you remember from my other video, I told you there were 5/16 push rods. That was the original push rods, or not the original, I guess. They were aftermarket, but the push rods that this motor had in it previously. The last motor I did, the LS7, it had these 3/8 push rods, but you can see the taper here, right? So I don't know. Let's see if I can get a better view on that. Put my hand behind it. There we go. Oop, come on. Focus. There we go. Okay, so you see that little taper there? What that is it's a 5/16 ball end with a 3/8 push rod. So by having the larger diameter here, it makes these a lot more stiff, less chance of them flexing. Flex loses power, creates harmonic issues, less stability in the valve train. There's many reasons to have a stiffer valve train that's good. Sometimes that can be a bad effect too if you have the incorrect harmonics in a motor, but I'm not going to go into those details. There's a lot going on there that even I don't understand. Okay, before I start reefing this down, I want to go over what I'm looking at while I'm doing this. I don't know the actual position of the cam, or that the position that the cam is in right now. I was not paying attention to the position of the motor very much. You can probably figure it out, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to be turning it over anyway. So this rocker here, I'm watching the valve go down, and what I do is every time I'm going to turn it, the valve will go down kind of quick. As I turn the bolt, it'll just kind of sink down, and then it'll slowly go up, and that's the lifter collapsing. And I want to watch for that every time I turn it, because at some point the lifter is going to stop collapsing, and I want to know where that point is. Having this in there is going to help me with that as well. If the lifter doesn't stop collapsing, it's because I'm at a point where this valve is not supposed to be open anyway, and the lifter is not fully, or it still has room to go, which means this feeler gauge is not big enough. Now, I did not like how that was going. It felt like the lifter was collapsed right away. So I'm going to grab a little bit smaller setup here. Something that I can turn carefully with and really pay attention to that lifter now. Okay, so right now it's fully loose and I can feel that. So I'm going to turn it. You can see the lifter go down a little bit. And now I can't turn it by hand. It did not go down very much. Usually the lifters will have around 100 thousandths of movement. This is going to be probably a 165 to 1 rocker. I don't know off the top of my head, but that'd be my guess. Yeah, it is not sinking down very much. It should be sinking down. Not liking what I'm seeing here. Okay, since I can't tell and things are just too sketchy right now, I'm going to turn the motor over until I know that valve is not open, or not supposed to be open. That way I can start tightening it and see if it stays closed or not. I'll put a dial indicator on it, and if it stays closed, I'm doing alright, but as soon as it starts to open up, that push rod's too long. I fear that push rod is too long, so we'll find out shortly. And it's a little ways beyond the intake stroke, so it's past the overlap. So I know this is closed, and there is no way there's enough room there, I don't think. So let's find out. I don't even think I need a dial indicator. I think I'll know pretty much right away. Okay, so it's starting to go down, continuing to go down, and it's not coming back up. It's all the farther I'm willing to go. Nope, not coming back up. So these are far too long. Alright, so now I have to go get my push rod measuring tool. I have a adjustable push rod thing. In fact, it's brand new because the last one I damaged. I used it with the springs like this. They were technically supposed to have the springs on like just the center spring or something, so it's lighter. That way they can handle it. Works great for stock stuff, but stuff like this, there's too much spring pressure there. So, alright, let's get this guy out of there. These are obviously way too long. So, here's the tool. It's actually a little comp cams deal. It is some kind of a push rod steel or something. It's a pretty hard steel. But the problem is, it's got this threadable deal, and you can only go out so far, and it's really unstable if you get it even close to that far out, and it will bend and just break. There's too much stress in valve train for something like this to hold up to the full spring pressure. So I put the stock one in, or the original one in, because I looked at the difference in length, and they're not nearly as long as I thought they were, the LS7 ones. I thought they were longer than that. That LSX motor I did when I put these heads on, I was assuming that it was going to be similar in that I had to use a lot longer push rod. But now I'm starting to wonder if I can't just use the same length push rod, because this isn't an LSX. Maybe the LSX has a difference in the lifters, or maybe the lifters we put in were a different style lifter. I don't know. But something was definitely different with that LSX that required a lot longer push rod length than what I pulled out of the car. Okay, we'll find out here. Oh, it's tight. That's it, it's bottomed out. Now do we have, see? So that one's too short. So I'm going to take and measure this one. I'm going to measure the other one and go in between with that adjustable one. So that was too much. By not a whole lot, but a little bit. These are 7/375 long. These are 7/8 long. I now have it at 7/5 long. Now that was just a little too short. Ah, fuck. Pretty much know what I need for pushrod length now, so if I bend it, it's not the end of the world. I just like to confirm it if I can before ordering and then finding out, oh, they don't work. So yeah, there's that. Okay, looks like I'm really close to fully collapsed, or feels like it. There, fully collapsed. Oh, and tight. Perfect. I'm right on the nuts with that one. Okay, so that means I had 30 thousandths of extra lifter collapse to go. A little less than I'd like, but this lifter isn't giving me as much room as most of them do. Seems like I'm only getting 70 or 80 thousandths out of this lifter anyway, so not sure why they're shorter. But let's continue with moving the motor and seeing how it works. Don't want to knock my measuring instrument over. Okay, so you can see I still have a little bit of movement there. Feels like it's got plenty of tension against it. So I know the lifter's collapsed. I actually, when I did that, I don't know if you could see it or not, I think I saw the lifter collapse a little bit more. So I'll take a look quick. Well, oh yeah, it must have, because remember, I didn't have any movement before. So yeah, it definitely collapsed a little bit more. So let's figure out where I'm at now. I might need a longer push rod then. This might be the length I need. 758. So it'd be 7,750. Or 7,575. There we go. 7,575. So I might have to change my plans here. It's a good thing. A good thing for double checking. I didn't think that lifter seemed like it was collapsing enough, like I had stated earlier. Usually they collapse more than that. Kind of odd that it wouldn't collapse at first. Okay, so it's just ever so slightly towards the outside of the wear pattern, but I also don't have a long enough lifter now. So I'm gonna go 7.6. Get that little bit of extra. There, 7,601. Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot more room in that lifter now. Okay, that makes me feel more comfortable. That was bugging me. Oh, let's just see how much collapse I have left before I do that. Not enough to pull on. So I have not a roughly 20 thousandths yet. I don't know if that's worthy of. I think I better adjust that out. I want to make sure I get it perfect. So I'm at 7,622 now. Oh, such a time-consuming, tedious process. I don't mind tinkering, but I'm tired. It was a long night last night. I got so much work to do. Alright, now let's watch for that valve itself, see if it drops down. Did not drop down at all, at least not visibly. Let's see if it's... Oh yeah, I got just a little bit of movement. That's what I want, just a hair. Now I can actually verify where the rocker rides. It should be in the middle. There's no reason it should change. Stock rockers. I just got to give myself the room for collapsing lifter in my pushrod length. Should probably go slower so I don't bend the damn pushrod. There we go. Okay. If I'm 7.62, I want 7.58, which closest would be 7.57. 7.575. I'm pretty sure they don't have 7.58. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'll go look, find out, and then I'll tell the customer, hey, get this part. That's better. Okay, so I have almost a full swing on that valve stem tip. Come on, focus. There we go. I'm gonna grab a screwdriver here for you. Okay, so you can see, I'll go off the corner of the screwdriver. You see there's a wear mark all the way from over here to here. So that's a nice solid from one end to the other mark, and the majority of it is right in the middle. That's exactly what you want for a pattern. So I know the geometry with these rockers on this head are going to work out great. I just got to get the push rod length exactly figured out. No way you'd be able to do 120. That'd be like using baking soda. Now, don't forget, please like, subscribe, and give me any suggestions you can come up with. I'm more than willing to be open to suggestions on what I can do to improve these videos in the future and keep showing you some positive and good content. If you have any request of specific vehicle things that you would like to know, or a specific issue you have, feel free to contact me. You can see me on Facebook. I have a page, Crazy Performance Repair. It'd be an excellent place for you to send me a message on a question you have. Hopefully I'll be able to get to it soon enough, but I am quite busy, so I'll do what I can, and we'll keep this going. Hopefully this turns out to be a good thing for me and you and everybody else that gets involved. Thank you.